Sno Drift 2024 was supposed to be a nice, easy second area event for us to get underneath our belt and just kind of breeze through. But it ended up being anything but that. Starting off the second we got to the house, we found a broken axle in the car, so we replaced that. Uh, Reki was showing pure signs of the road's just going to be demolished by the time we got through our starting order. And our assumption of that was correct. We were really torn between going through our Blizzak setup and our gravel tires, and we ended up choosing gravel tires, and I'm really happy about that. It was safe to say by the time we got around to our starting order, the roads were just demolished. It was littered with bumpers and just pieces of car, huge rocks that were torn up from the soft roads, that all the snow that was on it during Recce got melted and turned into mud. You could see there was a competitor that was suffering some type of mechanical we ended up passing. We actually hit something so hard that it bent our skid plate in, bent the headers into the steering rack, and melted one of our lines.
100.
Holy shit, I lost power steering, I think.
Does that smoke look black?
I completely lost power steering, so.
Alright, thank you. Fire.
What?
You're on fire.
Yep.
Right here, Cam.
No, he got it. Is she out?
You're out. Alright. Do we want to get going?
There was a very small fire, but basically what happened was the power steering, after bursting off the steering rack, went straight under the headers and caught fire. From this point on, we were really all deciding that it was just best to take it easy and try to survive the rest of the rally. We weren't sure exactly what was broken on the car, but we didn't want to make anything worse. Aside from the horrible noise in the rear differential, we were also getting some other grinding noise in the transmission that didn't sound like a metal-on-metal contact, but rather like the clutch was slipping, and we just kind of had to walk off the starting line, which was super annoying. The last three stages for leg one were just us putting through, just trying to survive, basically. By the time we got back to our Airbnb, it was 1 a.m. Our fuel pump had just broken as we were pulling into the garage, and we were pretty much getting ready to quit. We didn't know where to find the differential, we didn't know where to get parts, and we didn't know how long it would take. Around 2 a.m. on Saturday morning, we had to be at Park Expose by 10:30. We had called up a friend of our crew's who happened to drive his Forester to the rally, and he was crewing for another team. We had then put a plan in place to borrow his differential temporarily for the next day and just take it super easy. There's a bat! Day 2 of Sno Drift was probably the most exciting day of rally that I've ever experienced. We immediately had to start pulling the differential and swapping out fuel pump right in the morning. Got to service at about 8 a.m. Eli Gothel, the guy that our crew chief Dan was friends with, who we had arranged a deal the night before that we were going to swap the differential, borrow his, and then put it back in later that day. We were jacking his car up, getting it unbolted while people were still getting their stuff out of the car. We had our family members get us a smaller serpentine belt. Power steering was leaking. It was going straight under the headers. Every single time it was pressurized, it was lighting on fire, and so we decided that was a bad thing. So we bypassed the power steering. Night before leg 2, we were trying to diagnose what was going on with our drivetrain issue and the slippage and the noise, make sure we knew it was our rear differential. And the car just wouldn't start. Like, shut off as we were pulling it into the garage of our Airbnb. We had to be at park by like 10:15 the next day. This was now 1:30 in the morning. We wouldn't have finished without our crew. They were something that definitely pushed us through. Our family members ended up helping us out with a fuel pump and the power steering delete. Get the car back moving again. We ended up still having some type of slippage that was different. It was actually the clutch we found out was slipping. So we weren't really able to launch. We also didn't have power steering for the entire of day 2.
Not in comparison. Only thing I can think of that might be wrong with the car.
Day 2's challenges also included, we had a crash. It's about as minimal as it could have been. What actually ended up happening was we were running on this very slippery stage. This stage ended up taking out quite a few cars and damaging many others. We were coming around this greasy left crest. I didn't put enough weight back on the front, and we weren't really going like super fast. Car ended up sliding straight when I was inputting left, and we were going head on into a tree. And the car wasn't steering left, so I started steering right. We ended up hitting one of our side markers for our headlights. This is the only damage we did from that tree. As we were just getting ready to go, another car comes swinging around.
Oh.
They aimed for a tree behind us, so they ended up hitting that. They bonked their wheel on it, bent a control arm, pushed their entire wheel back in the wheel well. We're very thankful that they did not run into us. This was the same stage that we actually ended up catching air on as well, so that was also really cool. Sno Drift was anything but easy. It was the hardest event we've done so far, but kind of a lot. The diversity of conditions that we had to deal with on the fly and the diversity of issues with the car we had to deal with. Between fuel issues, drivetrain issues, power steering issues, really got our work cut out for us at this event. Bonfire Alley was our last stage. I've seen this on the internet, I've seen previous years, and it was just so cool being able to drive through it. It was just bonfires lit up on either side of the road for like a full mile, just thousands of spectators. It looked really cool. First time I've been in a rally car and wish I was a spectator.